join hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening for if you're in the West Coast or in the United States. Uh, Welcome to this weekly gathering that happens every Wednesday night. People literally from around the world, and we never know quite who's going to show up. And so many people have requested this particular this series that they're available online afterwards, and so a lot of people do that. Let's see. Welcome, Aliel. Good to see you. You did some of the advertising for this, and you called me both seasoned and something. How old do you have to be a seasoned person? I guess I am a seasoned citizen at this point.
Well, I
How
figured that season meant you like salt and pepper and paprika.
Yeah, well, I'm the paprika, I guess that's for sure. Anita, good to see you. Holly, thank you. Sandy, always a pleasure. Rochelle, nice to meet you. All right. So listen, we're going to move ahead, and I never quite know who's going to be online. But this, first of all, thank you for being here and for tuning in if this is a replay. I want to start by asking you a question, and I want you to be brutally honest. This is not something that will come easily for some of you, but it's something that's critically important for what we're going to be doing tonight. How many of you have actually ever struggled, and I mean struggled, with the idea of self-love? Anybody? Well, I think in our heart of hearts, most of us would probably say, yes, that has been a struggle. And it's one of the most common phrases that you hear in the entire wellness community. You just need to love yourself more. You see it in social media, in books, and therapists and teachers and gurus around the world. They all suggest this is the magic thing. And it sounds so simple. So why is it so hard? Why has it been so hard? Why does it feel like we're trying to like hug a shadow? Um, why do we hear that little voice in our head, that inner critic that immediately lists all the reasons why we're not quite worthy of love yet? I'll love myself when I lose 10 pounds. I'll love myself when I get that promotion. Oh, I'll love myself when when I'm a better parent, a better partner, when I'm more enlightened. Well, for you Tao folks who have sponsored these weekly messages, you trying to follow Dr. Master Shah, maybe you say, I'll love myself once I can actually have the discipline to meditate for hours a day or chant multiple times a day. Then I'll love myself. You know, it's always just around the corner, isn't it? And what about actually evolving into my best and highest self in the here and now? What many have called for so long self realization. Honestly, that sounds even more intimidating. It conjures up visions of monks sitting on mountaintops and decades of silent meditation. It feels like a destination for the spiritual elite, not something for those of us who were navigating deadlines and making next month's rent. and the beautiful chaos of the real world, quote unquote. Well, tonight I want to propose something radical. And I want you to know that tonight may go just a little bit beyond the 1 hour that we often try to limit it to. We've given ourselves an hour and a half, but I'm going to break the rule and go over the hour just slightly. So please bear with me. I think you'll find it worth it. So, what is this thing I want to propose that's so radical? Well, what if the reason self love is so hard is because we're trying to love the wrong self? What if the reason self realization feels so distant is because we think it's something we have to build, when in fact, it's something we only need to uncover? And what if that real world, with all its challenges and heartbreaks and periodically some joys, what if it isn't something we need to escape from to find ourselves, but is actually the perfect reflection of the world within us, giving us constant clues about the work we need to do? Tonight we're going to go on a journey, you and me together, just you and me, separate, the two of us, so to speak. We're going to deconstruct these ideas: self-love, self-realization, and what the real world is actually all about. And then we're going to put them back together again in a new way. We're going to touch on ancient wisdom, from the Taoist masters to the mystics of the West also. And we'll connect to the cutting edge of Tao science and modern physics. My goal is that you leave this conversation not with another set of rules you have to follow, but with a fundamentally new understanding of who you are and a set of practical tools to begin living from that truth. To begin with, there is this one great misunderstanding that we need to address. So let's start with this first big, joyously perplexing question: who is this self that we are trying to love? Now, I really do want you to close your eyes for just a moment. Really, humor me. Close your eyes. Now, I want you to think about the phrase, I love myself. Say it silently in your mind. I love myself. And just notice what happens. What's the immediate reaction? Is there a feeling of warmth? Or is there a little voice in your head that says, really? Is there a but that follows? I love myself, but I really messed up at work today. I do love myself, but I wish I were more patient. So, with your eyes still closed, on your next breath in, bring your full awareness deep inside you and silently repeat, I love myself. Well, instead of warmth, where in your torso do you feel a grip? Maybe the tug of guilt and inadequacy, or maybe unworthiness, possibly a clench of some uneasy sadness. Now, just notice that voice in your head responding to, I love myself. There is an I who's trying to do the loving, and a me who's being judged as unworthy or possibly worthy of that love. Where does the I and the me separation come from? Well, you can open your eyes now. By the way, if any of you want to have the notes that are going on behind this, or the slides that I really wanted to share, I have messed up so royally on most trying to do Zoom and slides and talk at the same time. I'll be happy to send them to you, and I will. But Where does this I and me separation come from? The feeling of being separate and flawed, struggling as an individual, is what the philosopher Alan Watts called the ego illusion, or the skin encapsulated ego. He had quite a sense of humor. It's the sensation that you are a lonely little consciousness trapped inside an ego, inside a body, pardon me, confronting a vast external universe. It's a story we've been told since birth, a story reinforced by our language, our culture, and even by our science. The period of European history that lasted about 100 years, from the late 1680s to maybe 1790, it's been called the Age of Enlightenment, or the Age of Reason, ushered in by the philosopher Rene Descartes' famous line, "I think, therefore I am." Well, on reflection, that era might more accurately have been called the age of the great detour. You see, for the past few hundred years, the dominant scientific paradigm has been both reductionist, which is let's take everything apart and into its smallest component pieces, both reductionist and brain centric. It's taught us that we are our brains, our thoughts, our feelings, our very sense of self are just the result of 100 billion neurons firing in a predictable machine like way. And if we're suffering, it's because the machine is broken. We have a chemical imbalance, we have faulty wiring. The model has given us very specific ideas about self. The self is the thinking mind. It's the voice in your head that narrates life. It's the one that judges our performance, worries about the future, and regrets the past. And so, we've been told to love ourselves. And we're being asked to do something quite impossible. We're asking the voice in our head to love itself. We're asking the judge to pardon itself. We're asking the part of us that is conditioned to find flaws to suddenly stop finding them. It's a recipe for frustration. It's like asking a hammer to be a paintbrush and a paintbrush to be a chisel. It's the wrong tool for the job. This is the great misunderstanding. The self we have been trying so hard to fix, to improve, to love, is not who we really are. It's a temporary role that we are playing, a story that you're telling yourself and you're hoping the rest of us will believe. Yet, the first step to true self love and self realization is to see through the story. And that begs the most basic question. If that voice in your head, the one you hear talking to you, is, as we've been told, the real you, then who's doing the listening? So if I'm not the voice in my head, who am I? This is where, for most of us, the new paradigm begins. And it's a paradigm that, as most of you in the Tao community know, it's actually quite ancient. It's a worldview that's now being confirmed by the most advanced physics of our time. A new science and an old wisdom tell us this: you are not a machine. At your core, you are a vibrational field of energy and information. In 1992, a group of scientists at the US National Institutes of Health, the NIH, they officially gave this vibrational field a formal name, the biofield. The term biofield did not exist before 1992. They defined it as a massless field that surrounds and permeates living bodies and affects that body. They reasoned that it is most definitely a field of energy that is bioactive, thus, the biofield. This was a quiet revolution, folks. The high priests of Western medicine were acknowledging that there is more to life than just chemistry. But this was not news to the sages and the mystics. In China, for thousands of years, they've called it qi, the vital force that flows through everything. In India, they call it prana, the breath of life that animates the subtle body through the spinning chakras. In ancient Egypt, they represented it with that handheld ankh, the key of life, as they called it. And in Sufi tradition, the Ruh, the Ruh, the divine spirit, the breath of God. And in the tradition that has shaped so much of the Western world, it was there all along, hidden in plain sight. When the master teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, spoke to his followers in his native Aramaic and said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God," he didn't speak of a kingdom in the sky. He spoke of Malkuta Dashmaya. Malkuta means not a place. It means a reigning principle, an active process. And Dashmaya does not mean heaven. Its root means light, sound, and vibration. The kingdom of heaven is then the reigning principle of the cosmic vibration. And where is it? It's inside each of us. This is a perfect first century description of the biofield. It is your personal vibrational field. It is your soul. It is the great meeting point of East and West, of science and spirit. The Taoist concept of Shen, that portion of the spirit that resides in the metaphoric heart and unifies the body, mind, and the higher self, it's that same reality that modern Tao Science calls the spiritual heart, and Western science is beginning to call the biofield. This is your true self. Not the chattering mind, not the flawed personality, but a vibrant, living field of light and information. The actual you, unencumbered by culture, family, or a skewed education. And here's the most beautiful part. This field, which is you, is not separate from the universe. It's a part of it. Jesus taught that we were all children of God. Tao teaches that we are expressions of the Tao. In the language of modern mathematics, we can say that we are fractals of the Tao. A fractal, in case you don't know, is simply a pattern that repeats at every scale. Even the tiniest piece of a fractal contains the image, blueprint, and completeness of the whole. You're not a drop in the ocean of consciousness. You are the entire ocean, expressing itself as a single drop. Your vibrational field, your biofield, your soul is a unique, localized expression of the entire universal field. You are, in your essence, made of the same vibrational stuff as the entire cosmos. Many of you here in this conversation have heard Dr. Rulin Shu's exquisite mantra and statement of fact. I am the inheritor of the entire cosmos. I am loved, protected, and supported by the whole cosmos. And from the standpoint of quantum science and ancient wisdom, at your most essential core, you are the entire cosmos. So let's try another short exercise, shall we? If you would, please close your eyes again. This time, instead of trying to love yourself, I want you to simply entertain a new idea, using your breath and bringing your full awareness into your body. Feel into the possibility that your true self is not your personality, that it's not your personal history and not the voice in your head. Imagine just for a moment that your true self, the listener and watcher of your journey, is a conscious field of light, a vibrant, intelligent field of energy that's perfect, whole, and inseparably connected to the entire universe. It has never been broken. It cannot be damaged. It doesn't need to be fixed. It only needs to be remembered. Just sit with that feeling for a moment. And what does that feel like in your body? Is there a sense of a little bit more expansion, of relief, or of possibly coming home? You can open your eyes if you wish. That feeling, that sense of relief and of expansion is the beginning of true self-love. Self-love is not an action you perform. It's a state of being that arises naturally when you stop identifying with the false, separate, ego-generated self and begin to realize your true nature as an aware, conscious, vibrational field of light. This, of course, leads to the next big question. If my true nature is this perfect, whole, and loving field of light, why do I feel so terrible so much of the time? Why am I anxious? Why am I grieving? Why do I feel absolutely unworthy? The answer is quite simple. Static. Let me explain. Imagine your true self as a radio station, broadcasting a pure, clear signal of love and wholeness. It's the real you. But over the course of your life, including those first 9 months, other signals have interfered with your broadcast. These interfering signals are what the physicist Richard Pavic, the developer of SHEN Therapy, called incomplete emotional episodes. Tao Science calls it a type of negative vibrational information. Fritz Perls, the father of Gestalt, called it unfinished business. Every time we experience a painful event, a rejection, a loss, a moment of shame, and we're unable to or unwilling to fully experience and release that emotion, that emotional energy, it gets stuck. It becomes an incomplete emotional episode, a pocket of dissonant contractive frequency that remains active in our earthly onboard vibrational field, our spiritual heart, our biofield, sometimes remaining there as a type of karmic imprint for our entire life. Now, Pavlik discovered the precise physical mechanism that traps this energy, keeping it active, by the way. He called it the autocontractile pain reflex, or ACPR. See, your body's tissues cannot tell the difference between physical pain and intense emotional pain. When your soft tissues sense the painful, incomplete frequencies that are so incompatible, frequencies like grief, fear, or shame, your body instinctively contracts around this disruptive frequency to protect you, just like soft tissue automatically rigidifies, forming a temporary splint around a broken bone. We even call that the splinting reflex. But here's the problem. The swirling, painful emotional frequency is now embodied inside that contraction. And so an emotional feedback loop begins. The painful, irritating frequency keeps firing, the tissues keep contracting, and the involuntary reflex never gets the signal to relax and let go. In this way, the grief gets trapped in the physical contraction in your chest. The fear gets trapped in that knot in your stomach. And the shame and guilt, they get trapped in that clenching in your lower belly. You know what that feels like. Every human does. These trapped, contractive frequencies are the static that disrupt the clear signal of your true self. They are the unripe state that the Aramaic Jesus spoke of, where the word for evil he used was bisha, which simply means unripe, unripe or immature. These trapped contractive frequencies are the pain body that Eckhart Tolle describes, an accumulation of old, incomplete emotional pain that lives in our contracted cells, tissues, and organs. This then gives us a new definition of self-realization. Self-realization is not about adding anything to yourself. It's not about becoming more spiritual, more enlightened, or more perfect. As the great 13th century Christian mystic Meister Eckhart said, God is not found in the soul by adding anything, but by a process of subtraction. Subtracting the static and misinformation we've accepted from the culture and world we've been living in. He also famously said this: to be full of things is to be empty of God, but to be empty of things is to be full of God. Self-realization, then, is the process of clearing the static. It is the journey of one allowing these incomplete emotional episodes to finally complete their cycle, their life cycle, of helping the body release the chronic karmic contractions of the autocontractile pain reflex so that the pure, coherent frequency of your true self can shine through without interference, without the static. As the Aramaic Jesus originally spoke it, it's the process of ripening, of maturing. So, how does any of this relate to the real world? Well, this is where the paradigm shift becomes incredibly practical and powerful. The central principle of the soul-centric biofield paradigm is this: field physics frequency fluctuations precede and dictate all biological, electrochemical, mental, and psychological responses, adjustments, and or changes. That one sentence is kind of earth-shaking if you have thought that it's brain in control and everything else follows. Let me read it one more time. Field physics frequency fluctuations. They precede and dictate all biological, electrochemical, mental, and psychological responses, adjustments, and or changes. This means that your inner vibrational state is the primary causal agent in your life. The frequency you broadcast from your biofield is the blueprint that organizes your reality. The world doesn't happen to you. The world happens from you. And it's a perfect reflection of your inner coherence or incoherence. If your biofield is filled with the contractive frequencies of fear and unworthiness, you will perceive the world as a threatening place, and you'll attract experiences that confirm your belief that you are not enough. And under the influence of those very same disruptive frequencies, our brain, sensing the threat, instantly begins producing all the defensive and judgmental logic and examples we're all so familiar with. However, if your biofield is coherent and broadcasting your innate expansive frequencies of love, joy, confidence, and empowerment, you will perceive the world as a place of opportunity and connection. And you will attract experiences and relationships that reflect that abundance. This brings us back to that powerful first century physics-based instruction from the Aramaic historical Jesus. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. Well, let's retranslate this to be more in tune with the original Aramaic meaning and using the language of our new paradigm. Seek first a state of inner coherence in your own biofield, and a life of true abundance will naturally organize itself around you. And let's be clear about what abundance means. I spoke about that a month or two ago. It's not about money, though financial flow is certainly a part of it. True abundance is a 360-degree experience of a life well lived. It is abundant health, where your body is free from the chronic contractions of old trauma and your life force can flow freely. It is abundant creativity, where your unique gifts and purpose can emerge without being blocked by fear and self-doubt. It is abundant love, where you can form deep, authentic, and harmonious relationships because you are no longer projecting the pain of your past onto the people in your present. And it is abundant joy, the natural state that arises when your field is clear and you're living in alignment with your true self. This is the real world we are all capable of creating. It is not a fantasy. It is the natural result of doing the inner work to clear our own vibrational field. Now, there is a path forward, practical steps where self-love and self-realization are the natural results. Well, it all sounds wonderful, but how do we actually do it? How do we begin this process of clearing the static and realizing our true self in the midst of our very busy lives? It begins with a simple, powerful act, the clarity break. The clarity break. It's a practice of creating a conscious space between a feeling and your reaction to it. An old emotional wound gets triggered. You know how that feels. You feel that familiar surge of anger, anxiety, or sadness. Your brain, that faithful protector, immediately jumps in with its old stories. He always disrespects me. I'm going to fail. This is unbearable. I'm not going to make it. The clarity break is the conscious choice to not believe that story just for a moment. It's the practice of intentional non-reaction. Now, here are 3 simple tools to help you do just that. The first tool is focused breathing. This is the most direct and ancient tool for calming the body's alarm system. When you feel the disruptive, incoherent frequency of a contractive emotion, your body tenses and your breath becomes shallow. This disorienting frequency and the resulting physical tension, both of these tells your brain you are in danger and you can effectively interrupt this frequency to body to brain cycle by consciously changing your breath. Now, breathe in a way that is, and you might want to write down these 3 words, calm, deep, and wide. You want to breathe calm. That means slow your breath down. Nothing exaggerated or forced. Absolutely calm. You want to breathe deep. Allow your breath to fall into your lower belly. Feel your belly expand as you inhale. As the Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh taught, he said to bring our attention down from the storm in your head to the anchor below your navel. And also breathe wide. Feel the lower ribs in your back expanding sideways and backwards. This simple act of breathing calm, deep, and wide, it sends a powerful signal to your nervous system that you are safe. And when the brain receives the safe signal, its reactive storytelling machine begins to quiet down. The second tool is somatic awareness. Yeah. In this great space created by your breath, I mean, it's vast inside each of us. Turn your attention inward and ask yourself 2 questions. What am I actually feeling right now? And where in my body am I feeling it? Now, don't use the story. Don't say, I'm angry because my partner was late, or anything else. Instead of the story, come out of your head and bring your full awareness into your torso. Feel the raw sensation. Is it a hot, buzzing energy in your solar plexus? Is it a heavy ache in your chest? Is it a tight clenching in your throat? By simply noticing the physical sensation without judgment, you're doing something profound. You're beginning to, number one, separate your awareness from the story you've wrapped around that emotion. You're becoming the sky that holds the storm, as Thich Nhat Hanh might have said. The third tool, cultivating presence. This is the wisdom of teachers like Eckhart Tolle. Anchor yourself in the now, this present moment. This is also the teaching of, from the Tao standpoint, our very own Dr. Rulin Shu, who guides so well to bring your awareness in and actively be present. Be aware, observe, and feel. You see, the brain's reactive stories are always about the past or the future. Presence is the antidote. Feel your feet on the floor. Right now, hear the sounds, if there are any, in the room. Notice the lights that are on. Traffic going by, possibly. Feel the buzz in the palms of your hands. As you rest in this present moment awareness, you realize that you are not that emotion. You are not the thoughts about the emotion. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which both of those are occurring. This disidentification is the key to freedom. It's the jumping off point, removing yourself from the karmic wheel. These clarity breaks are not just coping mechanisms. These are therapeutic acts. Each time you practice, you are gently loosening the grip of the autocontractile pain response, allowing a little bit of that trapped emotional energy to discharge, and you're building your capacity to live from your true, observant, aware, coherent self. Now, for deeper, more persistent patterns of trauma and shutdown, you may need support. This is where modalities that work directly with the biofield can be life-changing. Practices like Qigong, Tao healing technologies, these can help restore the flow of clean energy. And therapies like SHEN, developed specifically to release the autocontractile pain reflex and to complete old emotional episodes, these can help initiate and accelerate this process profoundly. Now, remembering who you are. This journey to self-love and self-realization. This is not a journey of becoming who you are not. It's a journey of remembering what you have always been. You are not a broken machine that needs to be fixed. You, each of you, each of us is a vibrant, intelligent field of consciousness, a fractal of the Tao, a child of God. Choose your terminology. But we simply have been temporarily obscured by the static of unresolved pain. Self-love is the natural state that emerges when you clear that static. Self-realization is the lived experience of your true coherent nature. And the real world, with all its potential for abundance, is the beautiful reflection of your inner reality. The work is to bring forth that which is within you. As the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas says, this refers not just to those wonderful, empowering qualities you innately bear, but more importantly, bring forth the contractive negativities we've been holding on to. These are, in fact, the very inner doorways beyond which lie the greatness of who we actually are. To quote the Gospel of Thomas exactly, if you do not bring forth that which is within you, it will destroy you. But if you do bring forth that which is within you, it will save you. Dr. and Master Shah, the one without whom none of us would be here, the Tao community would not exist. But the great teacher that he is, he so often reminds us that love, that organizing principle of the universe, love will melt all blockages. You are, at your very core, that love, the organizing principle of the universe. To recognize and live that truth is the ultimate expression of self-love and self-realization in the real world that we are privileged to call home. It's the meaning, reason, and goal for life itself. The path is simple, though admittedly not always comfortable or easy. It is the path of turning inward, of feeling what is there to be felt, of breathing into and through the contractions, and of choosing in every moment to anchor yourself in the spacious awareness of the now. This is the true self-love path of coming home to yourself. Now, as we begin to wrap up, can't believe I'm actually within the time limit. I want to share something with you that, if you will allow yourself, you can take this on as your how-to and what to say when you're speaking to your storytelling machine up in your head. You can close your eyes if you wish. But the next time you take a clarity break, the next time you breathe in, calm, deep, and wide, you become aware of where am I feeling and what am I feeling? What's inside that? And then you allow yourself to observe it, to feel it, to experience it fully. You can say this: oh, my dear chattering ego, I hear you. And I know that you are trying in your own self-serving, survivalist way to protect yourself. Your stories are intended as a defensive shield, and I thank you for doing what you do so well. But in this experience of now, I choose to come out of my head and into my body. I choose to breathe in, breathe calm, deep, and wide. In this eternal present now, I choose to relax the particular grip I am feeling and allow myself to fully experience the emotional frequency held within that grip, to learn from it, to grow because of it. And I choose now to release it. I am my fully aware and observant conscious self. I am the watcher of my own process. I choose to open that experiential door and welcome back my own innate expansive frequencies of joy, love, and confidence to retake their intended rightful place within my vibrational, my unique field of love and enlightenment. This, my ever ripening and eagerly maturing cosmos in embryo. And so, to my dear and abiding soul, thank you, thank you, thank you. How, how, how? Well, we have some extra time. I cannot hardly believe it. Any observations? Anyone want to say anything? Anyone want to ask any questions at all? It's
Russ,
all
I don't know what to say, but I feel deep, wide, and expansive. I really, I have never seen myself expand my ribs back or my body, and in an expansive way that way. You said many things that um, rearrange some things within me. I have to sit there and process more and listen again. But
I
thank
bet.
you. I thank you. You gave a wealth of information. Thank you very much. It's
Thank
great.
you, Rita. Thank you. I appreciate that so much. Yeah. Anybody else wish to voice an opinion or how in the world did you come up with all of that? Well, combining a life of many different categories and processes, and then having to manage to live this number of years, having survived some death-defying accidents, you know, you have to ask yourself, all right, what's it really all about? We need to know what it's all about in order to live it successfully. Gavin, did you really want to say something or not? It's up to you.
Thank you, Ross. Yeah, I just want to share my gratitude for this incredible session we've just had. And very grateful for the way you bring it together, but with so many other added incentives as well that just help one grasp something that's quite vast, but you're able to grasp it in a very quick, tangible way. So my deepest of gratitude to you. I absolutely love this session. And I'm absolutely hooked. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gavin. Appreciate your being with us tonight. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you, Terry, for that heart that's floating by. Much appreciated. Well, who else have we got here? Mike Nesbitt. Oh, my word. I'm so glad to see you online. And so many others that I know and have loved and continue to. Oh, so wonderful. Uh, Sharon Gilbert, lovely. Sandy, wonderful. And those of you who will be seeing this later on, thank you. I appreciate it. And Terry, if you would not post this immediately, I would like to give you a link to put in the description area so that people can actually download either the script of what I just said or possibly some slides. So let's you and I talk before that happens, Terry. Anyway, let us go and be our highest absolute selves, one that can see through the stories, one that can live a life filled with joy. That's already part of who you are, who we all are. We've just got static. Let's undo the static. Go listen to this again. Go download what materials you can. Realize that this is not something you have to live with. It is not something that is actually you. Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much, Russ. And thank you everyone for coming. And we'll see you next Wednesday, same
Excellent.
time. Come
Thank-
back.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Russ.
You, Terry.
Thank you everyone for coming.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
next week.
Amazing.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you,
Thanks,
folks.
Russ.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye now.